I'd like to share the story of a man walking on a busy sidewalk in Chicago. He had just left the theater, where he had completed his first on-stage performance. Well, not exactly completed. It was not a good performance, and he knew it. He knew how subpar his skills were at that time, so he simply decided to leave the theater. He felt the strong urge to just get out of that situation and start walking. He also felt the urge to unalive himself, but for now he just kept walking. He then thought, well, if I'm gonna die where I am, I may as well go over toward the lake and float for a while after I'm dead. So, okay, one step at a time, he makes his way over to the general direction of the lake where he felt inclined to do the thing. But as he's making his way there, he hits Michigan Avenue and it turns the corner and starts heading north instead of east toward Lake Michigan. And again, he's just walking as one does when you're feeling aimless and defeated. And after a while of this, he ends up at the Art Institute of Chicago. And once more, in this somewhat aimless whim, he walks in. He doesn't pay, he doesn't donate, he just walks in, because at this point, he doesn't give a fuck. It's there that he encounters a painting that completely changes the course of his potentially life-ending day. The painting was The Song of the Lark by Jules Breton. And the man was Bill Murray. When Bill stood in front of this painting and gazed at it for who knows how long, it renewed his feeling of hope. He recalls about this moment in an interview saying, "Look, there's a girl who doesn't have a whole lot of prospects, but the sun is coming up anyway, and she's got another chance at it. I too am a person and get another chance each day." And thankfully, Bill Murray's still around today. This story has resonated with a lot of people, and it highlights the power of art to uplift and inspire, or at the very least, disrupt that negative cycle of thoughts that could lead to somebody's end. The Song of the Lark is painted by Jules Breton in 1884, and it comes from the context of the 19th century French realist movement. This is a time when some artists wanted to depict everyday life with honesty and a lot of attention to detail. So the realist movement came from a reaction to the very idealized and romanticized depictions of earlier art periods. When you start looking all around at history, both chronologically far and near and geographically far and near, isn't it fascinating how most things, societies, generations, and individual people go through this reaction to what happened before them? Wildly new things can happen every day, but at the same time, nothing changes when you zoom out far enough. Human beings be humaning. It seems that Newton's third law of motion, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, wasn't just about physics, but also about the human mind, and probably entire civilizations. I just love looking at the world with all its tragedies and beauty. So who was Jules Breton? He was a prominent figure in realism and was deeply influenced by his rural upbringing in Courrières, France, which was a small village in northern France. And his works often reflect his strong connection to peasantry and the agrarian lifestyle. They capture the dignity and beauty of rural labor, although he and his family did not actually live peasant lifestyles. So he's just capturing this dignity and beauty without actually living it himself day to day, but rather as a social spectator, an artist, a filter to see that part of the world through. During the late 19th century, France, and much of the world really, experienced significant social and economic change because of industrialization and urbanization. These shifts often left rural communities struggling to maintain their traditional ways of life. These were big changes, coming down on the way people had been doing things for hundreds and in some cases thousands of years. So Breton's art can be seen as a response to these changes, preserving the essence of rural existence and highlighting its enduring values, and seeing it in a kind of idealized way if you think about it too, even though it's trying to be real. The Song of the Lark was created in this kind of milieu, in this environment. In this work is Breton's admiration for the resilience and simplicity of the countryside. Breton's choice to focus on a young peasant girl, which is a recurring theme in his work, underscores his commitment to portraying the often overlooked segments of society. So in this case, female, poor, and young. He has meticulous attention to detail, and his ability to give his subjects a sense of nobility resonate with the broader realist agenda of elevating the everyday to the level of high art. because they felt like the everyday mundane things deserved love and attention from the viewer. They saw beauty in these realistic everyday things. So let's take a closer look at this painting. The Song of the Lark portrays a solitary young peasant girl standing in a field at dawn, her face illuminated by the soft golden light of the rising sun. She's dressed in simple, earthy clothing, typical of rural French attire in the late 19th century, and her posture is upright yet relaxed, with one hand holding a sickle, and she gazes out into the distance, presumably listening to the Song of the Lark. The landscape behind her is expansive, with a vast field stretching towards the horizon, and it's also bathed in that same gentle, beautiful, early morning hue light. The sky's a delicate blend of pink and orange, and then up in the top right corner there's the tiniest hint of blue. It's suggesting that the new day is coming, the sky will be blue. And Breton's use of light and shadow is masterful. I think he was very skilled. And the color palette is predominantly warm and muted, emphasizing the natural beauty of the scene. It's earthy, just like her. Breton was an academically trained painter, so his technique involves smooth and precise application of oil paint. This allows for a high level of detail and realistic depictions of texture, from the girl's weathered clothing to the soft, dewy grass and her dusty bare feet. The overall mood of this piece is calm, in a way, and it evokes contemplation. For me, it definitely sets the mood and makes me hear the songbird against the backdrop of the early morning quiet. And I love early mornings, personally. But there's also a touch of melancholy, as if you can reflect alongside the girl in her quiet strength and resilience. This is a child laborer, after all, who probably does some back-breaking work and doesn't have much of a choice but to do it. So there's a lot of resilience in her. Currently, the Song of the Lark is still housed at the Art Institute of Chicago, where it continues to inspire. As a viewer, the Song of the Lark evokes a sense of nostalgia and admiration for the simplicity and hard work of rural life, which is so easy to say as I sit here in my air-conditioned office talking to my camera. Let's be real now. Probably like Breton, this is easier said than done, to find the beauty in this backbreaking work. But here we are. So this young girl, she has this serene yet focused expression. She seems like she's deeply connected to her surroundings. I'm sure she's grown up there her entire life, on the farm. She seems to find solace and inspiration in the natural world, despite her hard work in it. And the Lark song, although it's not visible at all, is almost audible through the girl's attentive stance. Am I right? Am I crazy, or can I hear songbirds when I look at this painting? The symbolism in the artwork is subtle, yet profound. So let's take a look. There's the rising sun, and it represents hope and renewal and the beginning of a new day, which mirrors the resilience and optimism of the peasant girl. Then there's the Lark song, which inspires the girl, and it symbolizes the power of nature to uplift and inspire people. Then there's the sickle in her hand, a tool of labor, and it signifies the ongoing cycle of work and that intimate relationship people have with the land. I think Breton's ability to capture this moment with such grace and realism is amazing. It helps viewers to feel this personal connection to the scene, as if they are there, standing in the field alongside the girl, sharing in her experience on that early morning. This is something I love about art. It's like VR IRL. You can just plug in and be transported into another world. From a visual standpoint, the soft, warm colors and the gentle light give the painting a contemplative atmosphere. It makes it soothing to look at. And for modern viewers, the Song of the Lark serves as a reminder of the undying beauty of nature and the resilience of the human spirit. No matter what harm comes to the earth and what chaos gets thrown our way, we're still here for it. So these are qualities that are still plenty relevant today in our very fast-paced, industrialized, AI-driven world. Jules Adolph Breton's purpose in creating the Song of the Lark, I think, was to celebrate the dignity and beauty of rural life, which he believed was being overshadowed by the rapid industrialization and urbanization of his time. And he wasn't wrong. He wanted to honor the hardworking peasantry and their deep connection to the land. They were important in the fabric of society, and he wanted to commemorate that with this, and many of his other works. I think Breton's choice to focus on a solitary figure emphasizes the individual experience rather than that demographic in rural life. So he's drawing attention to personal stories and emotions of those that lived and worked in the countryside. Not the people as a whole, but just those individuals. They're not just a group of people. It's this girl with her entire life and story and thoughts and dreams and laughs and tears and early mornings listening to the songbirds. He chose to capture this particular moment of reflection and just bring it all together and put it into your brain so that it's there long after he and the peasant girl are gone. Breton's detailed lifelike painting of a young girl at dawn really make you appreciate the simple joys and deep connections of everyday life. It's those simple, mundane things that are just so easy to take for granted, but that actually make up the whole of your entire life existence. Sorry, don't mean to throw you into an existential crisis. My bad. But yes, this painting still hits home with people today. So, if you've seen this work in person, I'm curious to know what you thought about it. How did it make you feel? And now a quick thank you to today's sponsor, yesterday's Epiphanies, bringing you wisdom you should have thought of earlier. Just like stopping to smell the roses or hear the songbirds. Because time perception is a crazy thing, and human lifespans are shorter than you think. So with yesterday's Epiphanies, take some time to listen to that stored inner wisdom. You'll know the right thing to do. And also a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. It is thanks to you that I'm able to carve out time to make more of these videos. It does take a long time to write and research, so I appreciate you for it. If you'd like to contribute to this channel, please check out the links in the description for Patreon or other ways to send one-time donations. They are much appreciated, and I'd love to give you a big thank you if you do. As always, my sources are linked in the description for all of my art history videos, so if you want further reading or to see where things came from, there it is for you. And if you learned anything new or just had fun, please like and subscribe for more art-related content.